Good evening. It's a little past 7 o'clock, and we have two meetings. First, the Cunningham Town Board, which will be followed by the Urbana City Council. I'd like to call the meeting of the Cunningham Town Board to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Sammons?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Jacobson?
Here.
Mr. Madigan?
Here.
Ms. Marlin?
Here.
Mr. Roberts?
Here.
Mr. Smythe?
Here.
Mayor Pressing.
Here. The first item is the minutes of the previous meeting, March 24th, 2014, which was a special meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So
Okay,
Second.
motion by Roberts, second by Ammons. Any additions or corrections? Yes.
It has that it's a regular meeting. It's on,
Okay,
And it
so it
was a
should be a special meeting.
correct?
Okay. Oh, it says special meeting on the,
But it says the board met in regular session.
oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Can we get that corrected, Phyllis? The first sentence says the Cunningham Town Board met in regular session. Should say special session. Any other changes? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. The committee to verify bills, the town fund and the general assistance fund.
Town fund bills for March 2014 that include, or sorry, April 2014 that include March interim checks. Town fund is $44,820.94. General assistance is $25,309.85.
Okay. Any questions for Michelle?
Yeah, just one. So it looked like our caseload is going down just a little bit
Yes.
from the graph. So that's a positive result of home enrollments in medical care? Or
Not
just-
for the caseload, no.
Okay.
For medical expenses, yes.
Okay.
The caseload, we have seen less people coming in, but there are also less people that are following the rules and not providing the information that we're required to have by law. And so those people are not on anymore. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then, thanks very much for that information.
Sure.
So I'll make a motion that we approve the bills for the town fund and the general assistance fund.
Second.
Okay, motion by Roberts, seconded by Jacobson. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Reports of officers, Michelle?
I just have one. We have started with the dental that we had talked about, or I had talked about last month, and I checked with Creative Smiles is who is taking our clients, and Dr. Yu performed the first set of dentures for one of our clients already, so that was, she was about in tears in our office. Needless to say, she was very appreciative of being a recipient of that. And we also did reach an agreement that we will cover fillings and crowns also. That was in addition to everything else that we had. So,
Yeah.
Dennis?
Yeah, and that was a concern of mine because I know how expensive it can be to have that kind of dental work done, and
right.
it goes way beyond checkups and
It
fillings. So
It does.
thank you for exploring that and
Sure.
getting that on there.
Yes.
Any other reports of officers? The assessor wants to wait? Okay. All right, petitions and communications. I have one person, Evelyn Underwood, Reverend Dr. Evelyn Underwood.
I assume, I'm Reverend Dr. Evelyn Underwood, 1309 West Tremont Street in Urbana. I don't have a petition my communication is I have a question relating to, I don't know if it's the town fund or the general assistance fund, since I have not kept up with exactly what you do. But in the past years, this office has assisted with funeral expenses for people who are poor people. Do you still do that?
Are you talking about gas money, basically? Did you say fuel?
Funeral expenses.
No.
So you don't do that anymore?
If the client, do we do that, Dina, they have to be a GA recipient.
GA, is that an
General
acronym for
assistance.
something?
General
Okay.
assistance. They have to be a township client.
Now, what entails one being a township client?
To go through the whole process, they would need to be basically, in short, or we could be here for an hour explaining it, they'll have to live inside Urbana city limits.
Yeah, the township, Urbana Township, or Cunningham Township. Yeah,
correct,
Cunningham
which
Township.
is inside Urbana city limits.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
a township that does outside Urbana city
Yeah,
limits.
I know about Cunningham Township, yes.
Okay, so they have to live inside Urbana city limits.
Yes,
They cannot be receiving Social Security.
okay.
They can only be receiving a very minimal amount of unemployment. They cannot gross more than $650 a month.
So any poor person could come to your office, and if they were in need of assistance with a funeral or something like that, they would have to be, a client?
Correct.
For some other need?
They have to be a general assistance recipient in order to receive
Because I
funeral
recall
expenses.
that any person that lived within a city limit, if there was a problem or something like that, and they were poor, they could come in that office. You're still in the same office and get assistance. We were talking about that the other
Right.
day. And so they couldn't come now, they would have to be a client
To
for
get
something
funeral
else.
expenses, yes, they have to be a client.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, so they would have to be a client already.
Before they passed away.
Before, no, I mean, I'm not
It
being
would
silly.
have to be a client that passes away.
Oh, it
They're
couldn't
not
be-
going to pay for a sibling or a parent or somebody. If the client passes away, then the township contributes to the funeral expenses of that client.
Of that
Not of
client.
any family member or anything else. It has to
Okay.
be that person.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so we should send maybe, because I'm asking this for some things that have been going on in the community.
Okay.
So I need to know information, so I'm asking tonight.
Right.
So I should probably send someone in to find out what the rights and responsibilities are.
Correct.
And they would come and see you, is that correct?
They would come into the office and ask the receptionist for an application, and then they fill out the application, and once they turn it in, they're mailed an appointment time with what they need to bring with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But used to be that office was there to help people generally, but now you have to be a client.
You've always had to be a client.
Well, no, I know better than that.
Well, I've been there 18 years, and you've always had
Yeah,
to be a
I've been here
client.
50 years, so maybe for the last 18 years.
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the town board? Okay, we'll move on. Unfinished business, I don't think we have any to deal with tonight. New business, the designation of the fiscal 2015 tentative budget. Michelle Mayall.
I have emailed this to everyone, although it probably was not looked at today. A couple of things I'll point out that have come up before in previous years is one being the IMRF rate. We did just find out that it has gone up from 2014 year from 14.79 to 15.93%. The amount that was levied is the amount of the expenses in this budget if you take out the Carl and Provena tax money, if we have to pay that back, which is on the very last page, on page 15. There is the Carl money in the budget as an expenditure until that case is settled, $479,386.08, and Presence Covenant Medical Center, $4,186.98.
Okay, Bill Brown.
Is that figure for the hospital repayment, is that the same as last year, or has that gone up? It shouldn't, I mean, they aren't paying any, so we wouldn't be adding to that, right?
Correct.
So it's about the same as last year?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for Michelle? So do you want us to just look at this tonight? We're not going to vote on it, or?
I would like for it to be designated as a tentative budget,
Okay.
and then it can be looked over for a month or two, and then we wouldn't vote on a final one until July, or if any,
To June, probably, right?
June or July.
It starts July 1st.
Correct.
Okay, there's a motion by Eric Jacobson.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, Charlie Smythe.
Well, I didn't have my mic on, so you can't tell.
Okay, who's going to second that? And Diane Marlin seconds it. Any discussion? Diane?
One question about health insurance. Do you, as the township, negotiate your health insurance with the cities?
Correct.
So-
We are
so-
under the city.
Okay.
Yeah. Health and dental, both.
Any other questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. Next is resolution number T 2014-04-001R, a resolution authorizing request to intervene in formal hearing with the Illinois Department of Revenue. Dan Stebbins, do you want to talk about this?
And Fred, interrupt me anytime you want. Basically, it's just to challenge the constitutionality of the new hospital exemption law that President's was granted less than 60 days ago for the 2014 year.
Okay, so you haven't done one for Carl? This
Well,
is
we're
just for Presence?
still in the Carl lawsuit, and so that's ongoing.
Okay, so this is just to touch both of the hospitals?
Correct.
Okay.
This is in proceedings before the Department of Revenue. It's nothing going on in court.
Oh, it's not in court, it's just
Right.
in the Department of Revenue. Okay. Are there any questions about this? Eric?
Is there a strategic reason not to pursue the same path with respect to Carl?
Well, the path with respect to Carl was chosen by Carl, and Carl changed their path 3 or 4 or 5 times every time something happened in the Provena case, which started first. If Carl liked it, they changed what they were doing to follow what Carl was doing. If it didn't go well for Provena, which it ultimately didn't, Carl changed to doing something else. So it's be hard to describe what Carl has done as a path. It's the property owner who determines what procedure they're going to follow, and we're just getting involved voluntarily or involuntarily in each of those.
Okay. So if I understand you correctly, it's the property owner, either Presence or Carl, that decides on the manner in which the issue is pursued, and the city really has nothing to say about that, or the township has nothing to say about, neither the city nor the township has anything to say about that?
Well, we get to participate, but they can follow an administrative procedure with the Department of Revenue, or they can go to court. They've got to pick one or the other. Carl had started with the Department of Revenue, and then they changed and went in to go to court, and the court said that they could still choose, but they had to choose, and they chose to stay in court. Provena started out in the administrative proceedings, and that's what they're doing at this time again.
So this affects all taxing bodies in Urbana? It's not just the township? Or you're challenging the assessed value, correct?
We're challenging.
Well,
Or you're challenging the exemption or whatever they're
right,
looking for?
and yes, it would affect all taxing bodies in Urbana,
Cunningham Township, okay.
Cunningham Township.
Okay. Okay, anything else?
No.
Any other questions? Charlie?
Move approval.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Charlie Smythe, seconded by Dennis Roberts. Any further discussion? Should we vote on this by roll call or
No,
just
you
voice
don't need
vote?
to.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion carries. I don't believe there's any further business for the township, so this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.